Traveling through the world of daily anime, Xuanye gains the terror descent system. Various fears can be created by using fear points. From a cracked woman, a gap woman, a human-faced dog, a human model of a biology classroom, Huazi, Zhenzi, Gayezi, Fujiang, PenxianSpells, monsters, evil spirits, urban legends. When one after another terrifying creatures that only exist in folklore descend. The disaster of the Japanese has also arrived. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. An Yilun and the Rift Woman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Kingdom of Japan. Tokyo. Somewhere. Night. On the street. A high school boy can be seen everywhere, slowly moving forward. He has short hair, wears a pair of big round glasses, a round-necked shirt, and a sports jacket. Although I worked odd jobs for 2 days on weekends, getting up early and going dark every day, I was always busy. But when she thought about the 2 comic books she bought with the money she earned from doing odd jobs, Yilun immediately felt that she was much more relaxed. Take a shortcut and go home early, so you can read comics earlier. With this thought in mind, Yilun turned directly into a small alley. The alley is very quiet. It seems that the street lights are flickering due to long-term disrepair. However, Yilun did not care about these either. In his mind now, besides going home to read comics, he still goes home to read comics. As he gradually delved deeper into this alley, the surrounding environment became even more peaceful. Step. 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 At this moment, the crisp sound of footsteps came from a distance. Step by step. The sound is getting closer and closer. Yilun also instinctively looked up towards the front and saw a city beauty with long black hair, wearing a mask, and a red long skirt. Underneath the long skirt were a pair of white and delicate long legs, walking from the front. Although the mask she was wearing completely covered her face. But just looking at her figure and her beautiful eyes, Yilun couldn't help but imagine a stunning imperial sister's face. Just as Yilun was subconsciously brainstorming, the urban beauty who was walking towards him had already arrived in front of him. And then, she suddenly stopped and stared at Yilun. What? Yilun was also a bit confused when she saw it, so she cautiously asked, "Miss, may I ask if you have anything to do?" The woman still stared at Yilun with her obsidian-like eyes, and her pleasant voice immediately sounded, "Excuse me, am I beautiful?" Yilun couldn't help but be taken aback. After being stunned for 2 or 3 seconds, he finally regained his senses. Facing the beautiful eyes of the woman, she nodded awkwardly and said, "Piao, pretty." As soon as this sentence is spoken, Yilun also noticed that the eyes of the urban beauty in front of her suddenly lit up. Next up, she suddenly reached out to her ear and, under the expectant gaze of Yilun, took off her mask bit by bit. The next moment, a torn big mouth appeared before his eyes. Ah ah ah. When she saw this huge and ferocious crack, Yilun was also startled. After trembling, the body instinctively took 2 steps back. Before he could recover, the cracked woman opened her ferocious mouth and approached him, asking again, "Am I beautiful like this?" Ah ah ah. Yilun also regained his senses and saw the ferocious mouth of the cracked woman within reach. Most of the night. Who is not afraid of it? Yilun cannot be afraid either. Amidst a scream, she pushed open the crevice and instinctively said, "Go away. Go away, you ugly monster." As soon as this sentence is spoken, the cracked woman's eyes suddenly darkened. Ugly 8 monsters. I actually said I'm ugly 8 monsters. The originally pleasant and beautiful voice suddenly became incredibly cold and hoarse. Amidst the hysterical murmurs of the cracked woman, she suddenly pulled out a pair of large scissors as long as her arm from behind. Under the flickering street lights, a heart-stopping red light was reflected. You. What do you want to do? An Yilun also panicked and clenched her fist, shouting loudly, don't come over, don't come over. Step on it. The cracked woman held up her scissors and ignored an Yilun's words. She walked step by step and said, you actually said I'm ugly, so why don't you become ugly too? Crazy woman, damn crazy woman, I won't be polite to you when you come over. Seeing the cracked woman getting closer and closer to her, an Yilun's fear grew stronger in her heart. He began to step back step by step. Then, while retreating, I accidentally stepped on a wine bottle and with a loud ouch, I fell on my back to the ground. By the time he regained consciousness from the pain, the cracked woman had already arrived in front of him, holding onto the large scissors with one hand and directly reaching into his mouth with the other. Click. Cut it with scissors. Ah. An Yilun's screams echoed through the sky, and a large amount of blood flowed from his cut left face. Click. After cutting open an Yilun's left face, the cracked woman showed no intention of stopping. The scissors once again cut down, completely cutting open his left face, almost extending to the vicinity of his left ear. Ah. An Yilun also struggled with pain and screams, but as a high school student and a heavy otaku, he couldn't break free from the shackles of a cracked woman. At this moment, the cracked woman inserted the scissors into an Yilun's right mouth. Click wipe. The scissors cut off and made a big cut in his right mouth. Click. 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 One knife after another. As the cracked woman kept cutting off the scissors, an Yilun's screams echoed over this remote alley. Woo, whoa. Ah. Ah, woo, ah. Note 1. This book is also known as, A Dozen Little Devils Die Every Day, Note 2. For new books, we are looking for free flowers, free review tickets, monthly tickets, tips, and everything. Ming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Case of female serial murder with a fist. You are listening at novel full.audio. What sound? On the street. Holding the back of his head in both hands, Kudo Shinichi followed behind Xiaolan and Yuanzi with a bored face and suddenly stopped walking. He quickly turned his head and looked towards the deep alley beside him, listening attentively. Cinny, what's wrong with you? Hey, Kudo, what are you doing? Why aren't you leaving? Xiaolan and Yuanzi were puzzled. Shoo. Kudo Shinichi frowned and made a quiet gesture towards the two women before continuing to listen attentively. It's a scream. After stopping for a few seconds, Kudo Shinichi's face suddenly changed and he became serious. Speaking. He had already run towards the alley. Wait for the new one. That guy Kudo is really. Xiaolan and Yuanzi quickly followed up. The three of them ran all the way towards the depths of the alley. The deeper it goes, the clearer the screams become. Soon. Kudo Shinichi saw the cracked woman sitting on an Yilun's body, dressed in red and holding large scissors, under the flickering street lights in the distance. Damn it. Stop it. Kudo Shinichi, with a strong sense of justice, immediately spoke up and shouted. As soon as this sentence is spoken, the cracked woman who was frantically cutting scissors at an Yilun's body suddenly looked up. Subsequently, she quickly climbed up from an Yilun's bloody body. Carrying big scissors, he ran quickly towards the depths of the alley. By the time Kudo Shinichi, Xiaolan, and Yuanzi ran to the street lamp, the cracked woman had already disappeared into a corner deep in the alley. Xiaolan, Yuanzi, please call the police. Kudo Shinichi glanced at an Yilun, whose faces had been cut open, and said to Kobayashi. Say it. He didn't wait for the two women to respond, so he hurriedly chased towards the direction where the cracked woman was running away. Xiaolan and Yuanzi quickly dialed the alarm number. Less than 10 minutes, Didi, 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 Didi. Accompanied by the urgent alarm sound, several police cars quickly arrived at the scene. Mumu 13, along with more than a dozen detectives from the police station, solemnly surrounded the scene. And at this moment, Kudo Shinichi, who went to pursue the cracked woman, also walked back with a dejected expression on his face. Seeing such a large group of people from the police station in an ordinary case, Shinichi Kudo's face became serious once again. Officer Mumu. He quickly walked up to Mumu 13. It's you, brother Kudo. Mumu said with a calm face. Kudo Shinichi looked puzzled and said, Officer Momo, what's going on? You guys have deployed so many people. Kudo, you're not in our police system. You may not know, said Mumu 13 with a serious expression. He said, looking at an Yilun, who was undergoing emergency bandaging and constantly making painful cries, and then continued, there have been almost 40 similar incidents in the past half-month. What? Kudo Shinichi's face changed drastically. He was the 38th victim, and out of the 37 victims in front of him, 34 were tortured to death by the killer using scissors to cut most of their heads along their lips. The remaining 3, like him, happened to have someone passing by, which saved them from danger. 38th victim. Cut open half of the head along the lips and torture to death. Only 3 survived. Kudo Shinichi's face changed drastically once again, and at this moment, Mizuki spoke up again. Because the nature of this serial murder case is really bad, our police have blocked this news to prevent unnecessary panic and also to prevent some criminals from imitating the crime. Kudo, you just know it yourself, don't disclose it. Kudo Shinichi nodded seriously and then asked, Officer Momo, if you don't mind, could you please reveal some more relevant information to me? Perhaps I can help you find the culprit. Mumu Shirsan glanced at him and then said in a deep voice, no problem. However, due to the limited number of survivors, the intelligence that our police currently know is not very much. We only know that the killer is imitating the cracked woman in urban legends. A cracked woman? Yes, according to the description of one of the awakened survivors, he was walking alone at night when he met a woman wearing a mask. The woman suddenly asked him if he was pretty, and his answer was pretty. Then the woman took off the mask and revealed a torn mouth. This cracked female serial murder case. Including the latest release of an Yilun, after all, there are already a total of 38 victims, and only 4 have survived. So, although the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department has made every effort to block this news, it cannot be completely blocked. This leads to the panic she brought is spreading bit by bit within the luxurious metropolis of Tokyo. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. The Traversely Xuanye and the Fear Descent System. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Fear Descent System Host. Li Xuanye Attributes. Strength 75, Agility 81, Physique 80, Spirit 85, Charm 90 Life. 15 days Death Point. 89 Fear Point. 2539 Creature. Rift Woman, PS1. The fear you create will see you as the main one. PS2. People who are influenced by the fear you create will benefit you and gain a certain amount of fear points. Using fear points can create fear. PS3. The fear of death created by you will benefit you by obtaining a certain death point. Using death points can increase lifespan and also strengthen physical fitness. System, add more points. I want to add more points, give me a lifespan for everything. Inside a residential building. Looking at his attribute panel, Li Xuanye suddenly thought to himself. Ding, 89 death points have been deducted, lifespan plus 89 days. Lifetime. 104. Watching his lifespan exceed 100 days, Xuanye couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and a satisfied smile quickly appeared on his face. It's not easy, it can be considered breaking the 100, and we can live for 104 days now. After being excited for a while, Xuanye suddenly clenched his fist and said, No, it's only 104 days. The revolution has not been successful yet, and comrades still need to work hard. As the saying goes, a friend of the dead will not die of the poor, and anyway, all those who die are little devils. Xuanye, male, 17 years old, a traveler. It has been over half a month since I suddenly traveled to this world. Although he was not soul-piercing, but wearing, he reluctantly lived in the foreign world of Japan thanks to the identity of a Dragon Country international student prepared for him by the system he activated. Why is it said to be very forced? Because he only had a lifespan of over 30 days at the beginning. But fortunately, as a traveler, the system activated by him can have a way to increase his lifespan. The system activated by Xuanye is called the fear descent system. The function of the system is very simple, it only needs to create various monsters to make people feel fear, and then they can obtain fear points. Using fear points can create new monsters. When creating monsters, if they are created out of thin air, they require more fear points to consume. However, if they are already present in local horror stories, the fear points required for creation can be significantly reduced. At the same time, the stronger the strength of the created monsters, the more fear points are required. Also, the wider the range of influence that the created demons and monsters can have, the more fear points are required. He can earn a certain death point for every human killed by the demons and monsters he creates. A death point can increase his lifespan by 1 day, and in addition, it can also be used to strengthen his physical fitness. To be honest, Xuanye has never been a kind person. And there is a saying that goes, a friend of the dead will not die of the poor. In order to survive, Xuanye can do anything. Moreover, the place he is currently in is the Kingdom of Japan. That is to say, for a long time, the fear he created and the people he killed were all Japanese. This makes him even less burdened. So, on the day of his travels, he did not hesitate to create the Rift Woman based on the widely circulated urban legends in the Japanese country. However, because the system initially only gave Xuanye 10,000 fear points. So the cracked woman he created can currently only appear in Miwacho, Tokyo. And she also doesn't have strong special abilities, her strength is similar to that of an ordinary adult man. Fortunately, if the cracked woman dies, Xuanye only needs to spend 2,000 fear points to summon her back out. Add all death points to your lifespan, making it exceed 100 days. Xuanye curiously opened the action log of the cracked woman on the system panel. As of 9:49 p.m., there was only one unlucky person who was unfortunately caught by the cracked woman. Even the name and photo of that unlucky guy are on the log. An Yilun too. Looking at the photos and names in the log, Xuanye's expression suddenly became strange. An Yilun, this name Li Xian is so familiar at night. Why isn't he familiar with the famous green one? This guy, isn't he the same as the one I know, an Yilun? If it's the same, doesn't it mean that the world I'm currently in is not just a simple world of elementary school students' death gods, but a world of anime? The reason why Xuanye was able to determine that he was in the world of Kush Shui was because he currently lives in Mihua Town, and the system gave him the identity of an international student who will be transferred to Class B of Daidan High School in the next semester. Both Mihuacho and Daidan High School are fictional in the animated series Detective Conan. The world of anime is so good, I don't know which anime has been integrated into this world. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. The Rift Woman is Spreading. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Late at night. Somewhere in Mihua town. A drunken man was walking unsteadily towards the front. Suddenly, a cracked woman wearing a mask and disheveled hair came towards her. Am I pretty? Drifting, beautiful, so beautiful, beautiful, do you have a date? What about now? Are you still pretty? Ghosts, go away, ugly ghost. You actually called me an ugly ghost. Go to hell with me. Click. The next day. Early in the morning. Looking at the empty refrigerator, Xuanye couldn't help but shake his head. It's time to go out, there's nothing to eat. Over the past 2 weeks, Xuanye hardly ever left the house. After all, anyone who sees their lifespan as only 20.30 days has no intention of going out for a walk. But today is different. With the efforts of the cracked woman, Xuanye's lifespan has finally broken through the 100-day mark. This makes Xuanye's mood was particularly wonderful, with the idea of going out for a stroll. Come out of home. Xian just closed the door of his small courtyard at night. A gentle greeting suddenly came from the side. Hello, you are the new neighbor who moved in a while ago, right? Upon hearing this, Xuanye instinctively turned his head and saw an adult man wearing a black suit, white shirt, blue tie, glasses with only a bottom frame, and a small strand of dull hair on his head, smiling at himself. My name is Fujiang. I live next door to you. Please take good care of me in the future. The man smiled and extended his hand. Hello, my name is Xuanye. I don't speak Japanese very well, please forgive me. Xuanye reached out and shook hands with Fujiang. What you said is already very good. With a smile on his face, Takuma Ohira looked at his watch and then apologized. Sorry, I have to catch the early subway. We'll talk again next time. Okay. Watching the hurried departure of Fujiang, Xuanye turned his head to look at the neighboring house, his eyes flickering uncontrollably. In addition to Conan and the female lead of the passers-by, this world seems to have also integrated the little burying girl of dry things. Not bad, really good. Come to the nearby supermarket. Xuanye picked up a cart and started strolling around this large fresh food supermarket. Soon, he bought a lot of food. When he arrived at the cashier and was queuing up to pay, he heard 4 or 5 men and women in front of him talking about the cracked woman. Hello, have you heard about it? What? What did you hear? What's wrong? Rift girl. Recently, in our Mihua town area, there has been a slit girl holding large scissors. It is said that more than 10 people have been killed. A cracked woman. Isn't this a scam on children? Really? It's true. I'm not lying to you. I have a relative who works at the police station, and he told me not to walk alone at night. Hiss. This kind of conversation is actually still taking place in many places in Mihua town. Even in several districts and counties bordering Mihua town, similar situations have occurred. With the passage of time and the emergence of more and more victims, it is absolutely impossible for the police station to keep this matter under lockdown. In fact, after half a month, the police station is almost unable to block it anymore. After all, over the past half-month, nearly 40 victims have appeared. Time passes by day. With the passage of time and the fermentation of the Rift Woman incident, the atmosphere in Mihua town gradually became suppressed. This day, accompanied by the CEO of a well-known company, he tragically died on the streets of Mihua town late at night. The cracked female serial murder case, which has been blocked by the police station for almost 20 days, has been completely exposed. Wow! For a moment, the entire Mihua town was in a state of uproar. A strong sense of fear and unease quickly spread, causing at least half of the people in the Mihuacho area to be missing after 10 or even 9 p.m. In just a few short days, Li Xuanye's fear point directly increased by more than 20,000, breaking through the 30,000 mark. If it weren't for the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department holding a press conference in the first place. Even the highest official of the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Agency, Ichiro Shirama, personally stepped forward to guarantee that the agency would definitely apprehend the murderer nicknamed Rift Woman and bring him to justice. Li Xuanye could definitely gain even more fear points. Night. A certain place in Mihua town. No. No. Oh no. I said you're pretty. Ah. Help. Help. Woo. Dot. The girl was filled with screams of fear and unease, coming from a nearby alley and attracting the gaze of Li Xuanye, who was running at night. To be honest, Li Xuanye originally didn't want to manage it. After all, Japanese people die when they die. And for every Japanese person who dies, Li Xuanye can receive a death point reward. 1 point of death is 1 day's lifespan. But when he instinctively called out the system panel, checked the action log of Rift Woman, and saw the name and photo of the prey that Rift Woman was preparing to take action, he immediately changed his mind. Seeking free flowers. Seeking free evaluation tickets. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Please, give me some free flowers and free review tickets, even if it's 1 or 2 can be used, so that the author has the motivation to continue typing. If it's really not there, deduct 1 from the comments section, so that the author knows that someone is watching and there is support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Hai Lao Ming Kai. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Time, go back to 10 minutes ago. Hai Lao famous cuisine restaurant. Looking at the 2 large bags of garbage that he had just sorted out at the entrance, and then at the pitch-black night outside the window, Hai Lao Ming Kai's face was full of confusion. At present it is summer and the weather is extremely hot, even at night it is 20.7 or 8 degrees Celsius. Among these 2 large bags of garbage, there is also a lot of kitchen waste. If you don't throw them away and leave them in the foyer all night, the whole house will definitely have a bad smell tomorrow. This is something that Hai Lao's famous dishes cannot tolerate. But it's almost 10 p.m. now. The street outside is quiet, with no one around. During this period, there has been a series of murders in Mihua town. She heard that there have been more than 40 victims, and even the police station has called on everyone not to walk alone at night. Thinking of the tragic situation of the victims heard from others during the day. Hai Lao's famous dishes are also very afraid. Hai Lao Ming, come on, you can do it, you must do it. The trash can is just across the street, only 20 meters away, there won't be anything wrong. After hesitating for more than 10 minutes, Hai Lao Ming Kai finally bit his lip, clenched his fist, and made a decision. Throw it away. Carrying 2 large bags of garbage, he cautiously walked out and sneaked all the way to the garbage bin. Throw 2 large bags of garbage into the trash can. She hasn't breathed a sigh of relief yet. Suddenly, behind her came the sound of footsteps, which frightened her and made her tremble. Hurriedly looking back, I saw a distant street corner. A cracked woman wearing a mask and holding large scissors is walking step by step from a distance. And then she immediately panicked. My mind suddenly didn't turn, not only didn't run towards my home 20 meters away, but also hid in a dark alley. The cracked woman couldn't have let her go and caught up directly. Chase and flee. Hai Lao Ming Kai is only a high school girl after all, and she also has a pair of big bears, completely unable to run away from the cracked woman. She ran less than 300 to 400 meters before being caught up by the cracked woman. After a QA session, the cracked woman took out her deadly weapon, the deadly scissors, and walked step by step towards the famous dish of Hai Lao. At this moment, Hai Lao Ming Kai was completely frightened and collapsed on the ground. As her body trembled incessantly, tears streamed down her cheeks. No, no. Woo 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 woo. Don't come over, don't come over. Help me, who can save me? Woo woo. Help. Help. The Hai Lao Ming, who was lying on the ground, kept crying and shouting as he watched the crack woman approach step by step. While crying and shouting, she propped herself up on the ground with her hands and gradually retreated back. However, how could her speed of sitting on the ground and retreating step by step compare to the speed of a cracked woman walking? Soon, she was caught by the cracked woman. As the blood-dripping scissors approached her face, an unprecedented sense of fear and unease engulfed her entire body. In this moment, Hai Lao Ming Kai no longer sought help or resisted, and even closed his eyes. In my mind, there is a blank space. In my ears, besides the buzzing sound, there was nothing left. Tick, 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 tick. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds after more than 10 seconds. As he saw the pain in his fantasies linger, Hai Lao Ming Kai gradually regained consciousness. She shrank her head and slowly opened her eyes. The first thing that caught her eye were a pair of bright and caring eyes. After being stunned for a moment, Hai Lao Ming Kai used the dim light to see clearly the owner of these eyes. This is a boy who exudes laziness all over his body. The young man's face was particularly handsome. Got it, saved. The cold heart of Hai Lao's famous vegetable warmed up again. Are you okay? Looking at the disheveled old famous dishes curled up on the ground, Xuanye took the initiative to reach out and said, "Let me help you up." Okay, okay. Hai Lao Ming Kai reached out and took Xuanye's hand, and with Xuanye's help, stood up from the ground. However, the front foot had just stabilized. Back foot. She felt a piercing pain coming from her right ankle. Ah! After a painful scream, Hai Lao Ming Kai stumbled and fell directly into Xuanye's arms. Looking at the girl in his arms with furrowed brows and a face full of pain, Xuanye quickly asked, "What's wrong with you? What's going on?" Hai Lao Ming Kai's body was tense, with tears in her eyes. She trembled and said, "Pain, pain. So painful. Did you twist your foot?" Xuanye thought this way and bent down to pick up Hai Lao Ming in the form of a princess, then ran towards his own home in big strides. "Please hold back for a moment. My home is nearby and there is a plaster for treating falls and sprains at home. Seeking free flowers. Seeking free evaluation tickets. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Begging for everything. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6 Hai Lao Ming. Can I not go back? You are listening at novelfull.audio. 10 minutes later. Xuanye's home. In the living room. After gently placing the old famous dishes that had shrunk into a ball on the sofa, Xuanye squatted down in front of her for the first time. Private Marseille. Say it. He grabbed the girl's left calf directly and took off her small white shoe. Because it was just a matter of throwing garbage outside, although it seemed to be due to the fact that in case of a split in her mouth, she couldn't escape by wearing slippers, Hai Lao Ming Kai wore shoes but not socks. So as soon as Xuanye took off her shoes, a delicate porcelain-like little foot suddenly appeared in front of him. The skin is fair and delicate, like condensed fat under moonlight. Not only does it have no odor, but it also carries a faint fragrance. If it were normal, as a bear controlling his feet, legs, and everything, Li Xuanye would definitely not just give up. He would definitely appreciate it carefully. But the situation is urgent at the moment. After taking off the shoes of Hai Lao Ming Kai Kai, Li Xuanye quickly inspected them. After looking at his left foot and finding no problems, he immediately took off Hai Lao Min Sai's right shoe. Then, I found that the position of her right heel had already swollen, even turning purple or even black. It's a bit serious. Li Xuanye couldn't help but furrow his brows, and then said to Hai Lao Ming Kai, "Wait a moment." After speaking, he didn't wait for the other party to respond and strode away. Not long. Li Xuanye walked back quickly, carrying a steaming basin and a large bottle of chilled cola. It may hurt a bit later, but if you can't help it, you can scream out. It's okay. Say it. Li Xuanye reached out and shook hands with the white, tender, and fragrant little feet of Hai Lao's famous dishes, carefully kneading them. Hiss! Almost at the same time, the sound of air conditioning suddenly rang out. It's okay, just scream out the pain, it's okay. Li Xuanye spoke gently, his hand movements not stopping, but still massaging very professionally. After a massage, he quickly picked up the iced cola and pressed it against the sprain of Hai Lao Ming Kai Kai. After applying cold compress for about 2 minutes, Li Xuanye finally removed it and then kneaded it again. After rubbing for about 3 minutes, he took out the hot towel from the nearby basin, squeezed out the water, and applied it to the sprain. Hot compress lasts for about 2 minutes, then remove and start kneading. So it goes back and forth. About 20 minutes later. The sprain on the right heel of Hai Lao Ming Kai Kai has already healed quite a bit. At least half of the swelling has subsided, and the purple-black ankle that was originally caused by a sprain has also faded. After applying the ointment for the sprain and fall, Li Xuanye finally breathed a sigh of relief. Looking up at Hai Lao's famous dishes, Li Xuanye smiled slightly and gently asked, "How are you feeling now? Is it still painful?" Hai Lao, a famous dish, said softly and weakly, "No, it's okay. It's not painful anymore. Thank you. Thank you. It's okay." Li Xuanye breathed a sigh of relief and then said seriously, "By the way, you have abrasions on your legs and hands. If you don't mind, can I help you detoxify them?" "Okay. I trouble you." Hai Lao's famous dishes are still soft and weak. Just like her feet. The girl's legs are also very top-notch. Slender, fair and delicate. It is definitely a blessing for leg control patients. Fortunately, Li Xuanye's composure was strong enough, otherwise I really didn't know what would happen. There may be some pain during disinfection. Li Xuanye suddenly looked up and looked at Hai Lao Ming Kai, only to find her staring at him with a red face and a bright smile. After realizing her gaze, she quickly shifted her gaze away like a thief. Immediately after, her voice rang out. "Okay. Okay." Then, Li Xuanye carefully, earnestly, and gently applied potions and bandages to the wounds on Hai Laoming's legs and back of his hands one by one. And throughout the process, the girls all looked at him with bright and lively eyes, and as they watched, inexplicable emotions quickly spread in her heart. 7 or 8 minutes later. All right. After applying a bandage to the last wound, Li Xuanye breathed a sigh of relief and quickly stood up. Hai Lao's famous dishes suddenly came to mind and hurriedly said, "Thank you, thank you." Li Xuanye waved his hand and said, "This is all I should do. By the way, why do you have to run out alone at night? Mihua Town is not safe lately. It is said that the cracked female serial killer likes to pick on someone like you who walks alone at night." The 3 characters, cracked female, appear. Just as he had just regained his composure, Hai Laoming Kai Kai's face suddenly showed a strong expression of fear. But when I saw Li Xuanye, my heart suddenly calmed down and I weakly explained. Li Xuanye couldn't help but say, "I don't know what you're thinking when you come out to throw garbage at night." Hai Lao's famous dishes immediately showed a pitiful expression. Damn cute girls selling cuteness to you, who can bear it? Li Xuanye immediately changed his mind and said, all right, your house is right next to you, right? I'll take you back. As soon as these words were spoken, Hai Lao Ming Kai suddenly paused and fell into silence. After waiting for a few seconds without her response, Li Xuanye couldn't understand and said, what's wrong? Is there anything uncomfortable? Upon hearing this, Hai Lao Ming Kai weakly looked up and whispered, well. That. I can't. What? Li Xian couldn't help but see the girl as if she had made up her mind. Suddenly, she clenched her fist and said, can I not go back? I'm a bit scared, I'm the only one at home. Seeking free flowers. Seeking free evaluation tickets. Looking for a monthly pass. Please give me a reward. Begging for everything. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Don't leave. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Good night, Hai Lao Ming classmate. After carrying Hai Lao Ming Kai, who was afraid to go home due to being attacked by a cracked woman and had a sprained foot, to the room and gently putting her down on the bed, Li Xuanye whispered softly. Thank you, Xuanye classmate. Hai Lao, a famous vegetable, blushed with blood as she thanked her. When she saw Li Xuanye holding a pillow and preparing to go out, she quickly called out, Xuanye classmate. Li Xuanye stopped his steps and turned back in confusion. What's wrong, Hai Lao Ming classmate? After hesitating for a few seconds, Hai Lao Mingkai said, where are you going, Xuanye? Li Xuanye smiled and said, Hai Lao Ming, you can sleep peacefully. Just call me when you have time, and I'll sleep in the living room. Okay. Okay. Hai Lao Mingkai said with a shrunken head. Well. Good night. Well, good night, good night. By the way, Mr. Hai, I won't help you turn off the room lights. I feel like you might want to keep them on. Well, thank you. After leaving the room, Li Xuanye went straight to the living room. After lying down on the sofa, he instinctively opened the action log of the cracked woman and glanced at it. Oh ho, today's battle result was good. In just a short while, I caught another prey. Close the system panel. After casually turning off the lights in the living room, Li Xuanye immediately closed his eyes. Inside the room, it suddenly quieted down. Time passes quickly. I don't know how long it will take. Suddenly. No, no. Don't come over. Woo-woo. Save. Life. The famous dishes of Hai Lao were filled with panicked and anxious cries for help, and suddenly rang out. Li Xuanye quickly regained consciousness. When she got up and walked quickly to the room, her shouting had already stopped. The whole person huddled under the bedding, trembling. It's obvious. She had a nightmare just now, dreaming of a cracked woman. There's no way. Not to mention the little girl Hai Lao Ming Kai, even an adult man would be afraid of encountering a serial killer with 40 or 50 lives in his hands at night, and almost getting caught by this serial killer. It's okay, Hai Lao Ming, it's already okay. Li Xuanye walked quickly to the bed and comforted him. Upon hearing Li Xuanye's voice, Hai Lao Ming Kai dared to poke his head out of the bedding. I really feel pity at first sight. Her delicate face was filled with fear and tears, which flowed out of her fearful eyes. Xian Ye's classmate. Woo-woo. Hai Lao Ming Kai choked up. I'm here. It's okay, it's already okay. Li Xuanye quickly reached out and gently stroked the girl's back, comforting her. Under the gentle and careful soothing of Li Xuanye, Hai Lao Ming Kai gradually calmed down. But you can tell from her tense body. Her inner fear did not completely dissipate. Xian, Xuanye classmates. In the midst of silence, Hai Lao Ming Kai suddenly lifted his head and looked pitifully at Li Xuanye with tearful eyes. What's wrong, Hai Lao Ming classmate? Li Xuanye said gently. This is. Can you wait a moment? Hai Lao Ming Kai bit his lip and stuttered, can you? Don't leave. I'm so scared. I dare not sleep alone. Say it. She stared at Li Xuanye with a pleading expression on her face. Li Xuanye hesitated to speak, but finally nodded. Great, thank you so much, Xuanye. Seeing Li Xuanye agree, Hai Lao Ming Kai suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and showed a relieved expression on his face. I'll go get the pillow, Hai Lao Ming, please wait a moment. Okay. Soon. Li Xuanye returned with a pillow and slowly lay down on the far right side of the bed under the nervous gaze of the young girl. Hai Lao Ming, it's like this. When I sleep, if I don't turn off the lights, I won't be able to sleep. Then turn off the lights, Xuanye. I'm fine, I'm not a big deal. The law. When the switch was pressed, the room suddenly darkened and fell into silence. Time passes by minute by second. I don't know how long it will take. The soft and weak voice of Hai Lao's famous vegetable suddenly rang out. So. That, Xuanye classmate, have you fallen asleep? Li Xuanye opened his eyes and said, not yet. What's wrong with Hai Lao Ming? No, nothing serious, just a bit unable to sleep. Can I chat with you for a while? May I disturb you too much? It's okay, I can't sleep either. Speaking of Mr. Hai, you just said there's only one person in your house. Are you living alone? Yes. I live alone. I came to Tokyo alone from Akita. Then you're really amazing. You dare to leave home and come to such a far place to study and live alone. Xuanye, you are even more powerful than me. How dare you come to our foreign land of Japan to study alone from the Dragon Kingdom, and you also know how to use traditional Chinese medicine for massage. Stop praising, I'm blushing from praising, Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. The Death of a Rift Woman. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Under the night. Li Xuanye and Hai Lao Ming Kai started chatting casually, one by one. We chatted until 2 or 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, and then ended up falling asleep in a daze. Late night. In his sleep, Li Xian felt a sudden surge of something in his arms in a daze at night. Soft and comfortable to hold, it feels like a super-sized plush toy. He is accustomed to holding something while sleeping, such as a plush toy or a blanket. So subconsciously, he tightly hugged the object that suddenly slipped into his arms, and even put one leg directly on it. Just as Li Xian was sleeping soundly at night. Mihua Town. Somewhere. In a small alley. A criminal police officer wearing casual clothes is walking unsteadily towards the front. Walking. Suddenly. Step by step. The crisp sound of footsteps suddenly came from the front of the dark alley. The detective quickly looked up and saw a woman wearing a mask and a red dress with a disheveled hair, walking from a distant corner. Call Command Center. Call Command Center. Target detected, target approaching. The detective immediately reached out and held down the wireless earphone, whispering. Suddenly. 2 plainclothes detectives located in 2 other alleys nearby immediately took action. At the same time. Walking in other areas of Mihua Town, plainclothes detectives also took action and quickly surrounded them. In the alley. Step by step. Step by step. With the sound of footsteps, the cracked woman got closer and closer to the plainclothes detective. In order to prevent the vicious serial killer from escaping, the plainclothes detective waited until she was less than 5 meters away from him before suddenly taking out a pistol from his pocket. "Stop!" He suddenly spoke up and shouted. Step by step. The cracked woman is still approaching. 5 meters. 4 meters. 3 meters. 2 meters. Seeing that there were only 2 meters left, looking at the bleeding pair of scissors in the cracked woman's hand, I thought of her deeds of harming more than 40 people. Casual police officers are not hesitating. Pull the trigger directly. A bang shot hit the cracked woman's right leg. However, the cracked woman is like a zombie in a movie, seemingly unaware of the pain. After her body stumbled twice, even though she was shot in the right leg, she still stood steadily on the ground. "Am I pretty?" Her pleasant voice suddenly rang out. The plainclothes detective did not respond, but instead raised his gun, frowned tightly, and stared at the cracked woman with a serious expression on his face. "Am I pretty?" the cracked woman asked again. The plainclothes detective still hasn't answered. The cracked woman, who had not received a response twice in a row, suddenly had a fierce expression. "Surprisingly, you didn't answer my question. You must be just criticizing me. You must think I'm ugly. I want to cut open your mouth and make you look like me." In a fit of exhaustion, the cracked woman grabbed the scissors and suddenly rushed towards the plainclothes detective. Bang! 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 The plainclothes detective pulled the trigger almost without hesitation. As he fired, he retreated and shouted loudly, "Stop here. If you're getting closer, I won't be polite." However, facing his threat, the cracked woman, who had been shot 4 times in the front and back of her legs, still ignored her and continued to charge forward, stumbling and fiercely hitting the plainclothes detective. Under tremendous impact force, the plainclothes detective fell directly to the ground with his head up. The pistol couldn't be held firmly and fell 3 or 4 meters away. The strong dizziness caused by hitting his head on the ground made him see stars in his eyes. And when he saw Venus in his eyes, the cracked woman had already inserted the open large scissors directly into his mouth. Click. By the time he barely regained his senses, the scissors had already been cut off fiercely. Ah 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 ah. The cries of pain echoed through the sky. In the midst of the plainclothes detective's painful howls, his body struggled fiercely in an attempt to escape. The cracked female body sitting on him shook violently, and the scissors in her hand also stirred in the mouth of the plainclothes detective. The sharp tip of the scissors crawled along the mouth towards the depths of the undercover police officer's head. The piercing pain made him scream even more fiercely, and at the same time, he struggled even harder. This makes. The scissors inserted into his mouth by the cracked woman continued to move towards the depths of his head. At this moment. Bang! The sound of gunfire suddenly came from the side. One of the plainclothes detectives located in a nearby neighborhood alley is facing the cracked woman's head. Pulled the trigger. In order to maximize his fear points, Xuanye borrowed a bit from the zombie setting when creating the Rift Woman. Unless it is a head blow, it is almost impossible to die. So, the cracked woman who was shot in the head immediately lost her breath and collapsed. Not long. Dee-dee, 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 dee-dee. Accompanied by the urgent sound of sirens, police cars rushed to the scene one by one. Looking at the body of the cracked woman, all the detectives couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. But then, after seeing the tragic situation of their colleague, everyone's heart did not tremble. It's too tragic. It's really too tragic. The right half of the face has been cut open all the way to near the right ear. Blood kept flowing out of the bed. Fear point +10. Fear point +10. I'm asking for free flowers, free review tickets, please give me some. As we all know, in the place of Feilu, if there is no flower data for the first day new book, I really can't persist Ming outing in happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 9. Resurrect, My Love Cough and Crack Girl. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Wake up from a nap. It's already 9 o'clock in the morning. Xuanye slowly opened his eyes. The first thing that catches the eye is a cute face that is right within reach. Her face was red and adorable, and she even had a slightly chubby appearance. It's simply adorable. What? What is the situation? Xuanye couldn't help but be stunned as he looked at the famous dishes of Hai Lao, which were huddled in his arms like octopuses. And at this moment, accompanied by a soft and tender hum, the girl in her arms slowly opened her eyes. 4 eyes facing each other. The room suddenly quieted down. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. In just 3 seconds, Xuanye watched helplessly as Hai Laoming's face quickly turned red. No, it's not just her face, even her ears and neck are burning red. His face was as red as a ripe red apple, making him want to take a gentle bite. After a brief silence, Xuanye took the lead in saying, "Cough, good morning, Hai Laoming classmate." Upon hearing this, the girl was suddenly aroused and quickly crawled out of Xuanye's arms, hand and foot in hand, and climbed to the side. Her face was bloodshot, and steam seemed to be rising faintly from her head, as if in a mosquito-like voice. Morning, morning. The scene fell silent again. Quiet. Suddenly, Gulululu, a strange cry suddenly sounded. Xuanye followed the sound with a swoop and found that Hai Laoming Kai had already lowered his head in shame, burying his head in the surging waves. Hai Lao, famous brand steam lady, truly lives up to its reputation. Xuanye thought this way and suddenly got up, saying, "Hai Laoming, are you hungry? I'll go prepare some breakfast for you. You can wash yourself up first. Coincidentally, I have a spare toothbrush in the drawer of the wash basin." Say it. Xuanye quickly left the room. After Xuanye left, Hai Laoming Kai slowly looked up. Looking at the empty door, she couldn't help but think of what happened to her last night and what happened earlier this morning. Her mind was dizzy. By the way, when Xuanye was sleeping, why did he grow such a big stick? Talking to oneself. Hai Laoming Kai suddenly remembered the content taught by the teacher in the school health class. A bold guess that made her feel extremely ashamed quickly emerged from the depths of her mind. That's not a stick, that's buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. For a moment, a large amount of steam emanated from her head. Hai Lao famous brand Steam G has once again started operating. Xuanye is not a great chef, but because he didn't like ordering takeout in his past life, he would occasionally cook for himself. So the culinary skills cannot be said to be good, but they are definitely not particularly bad, and they are barely decent. Soon, 3 dishes and 1 soup are ready to serve. And at this moment, Hai Laoming Kai also finished washing up, but due to a sprain in his foot, he limped out of the room. Looking at the 3 dishes and 1 soup on the table, which were all colorful, fragrant, and delicious, her eyes suddenly lit up. Wow, she looked full of admiration and stared at Xuanye with bright eyes. "Xuanye classmate, did you do all this?" Xuanye scratched his head and smiled, "Yes." "Great. Xuanye, why are you so amazing?" "Hee, it's okay. It's okay. Come on, let's eat." "Okay." At the invitation of Xuanye, Hai Laoming Kai quickly sat down on the sofa behind the glass coffee table. Xuanye casually picked up the TV remote control, turned on the TV, and then said to Hai Laoming, who was constantly swallowing his saliva, "Hai Laoming, hurry up and eat. If it gets cold later, it won't taste good anymore." Then I'll get started. Just at this moment. The TV channel that was originally playing a TV drama suddenly flashed. A news live broadcast room appeared on the screen. This is a Japanese television station, and I am host Mizumo Rina. I am currently broadcasting an emergency news. According to the news from the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Agency, the agency has successfully killed a serial killer named Rift Woman in the XXX block of Mihua Town at 3 a.m. this morning. Upon hearing this, Li Xuanye's gaze couldn't help but flicker. He quickly opened his property panel and glanced at it. Fear Descent System Host. Li Xuanye Attributes. Strength 75, Agility 81, Physique 80, Spirit 85, Charm 90 Lifetime. 97 Days Deadline. 24 Fear Point. 35,539 Creature. Rift Woman, awaiting resurrection, are you dead? To be honest, Li Xuanye was not surprised by the death of the cracked woman. After all, when he first created the Rift Woman, he only spent a total of 10,000 fear points. It would be great if she could possess the ability of a zombie to not die immediately except for being beheaded. It's not a big problem, just resurrect it again. Coincidentally, because the police station has released that the cracked woman has been killed, the entire Mihua town must have relaxed their vigilance now. Let's make a big profit on the fear points, accumulate more fear points in one breath, and be prepared to create the next terror. Come on, resurrect my love. Cough cough. My creation's cracked woman. Fear points deducted by 2,000. Rift Woman resurrected successfully. If you can't bear to part with your child and can't keep a wolf, deduct 30,000 from your fear point. The Rift Women's activity area suddenly expanded from Mihua Town to 24 districts in the entire Tokyo metropolitan area, including Mihua Town. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Reproduction of the Fist Woman. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Xuanye classmate. Xuanye classmate. The call in his ears awakened Li Xuanye from his thoughts. As soon as he regained his senses, he met the excited eyes of Hai Lao Ming Kai. She blushed and clenched her fists, shouting excitedly, Xuanye, did you hear that? It's really great. The police station did a great job. That terrifying killer has finally been solved. Li Xuanye also smiled brightly and said, yeah, that's really great. So, Mihua Town must be able to get lively again at night, right? Hai Lao Ming Kai nodded without hesitation and said, definitely. On the other side. Police Department. Mumu 13 Office. What? The investigation results at the scene have already come out. Shinji Abe's legs were shot 4 times at close range, hitting her calves and thighs respectively. Under such circumstances, she still managed to hold on and charge in front of Shinji Abe, almost killing him. Upon hearing the investigation report, Mumu 13's face was filled with disbelief and shock. Yes, Officer Mu. Takagi Shulien, who came to report the news, hurriedly said. Crazy, what a crazy person. After being stunned for several seconds, Mumu 13 finally regained his composure and asked, how is Abe's situation? Currently in a coma, but according to the information from the hospital, Abe's condition is very bad. The scissors have hit his right brain, and even if he doesn't die, he probably will have to spend his next life in a wheelchair, said Takagi Shulien hurriedly, damn lunatic. Mumu 13 slammed on the table with anger on his face. After several seconds of silence, he asked again, how are the people's reactions now? What about the security in Mihua Town? We are rapidly recovering, and it is estimated that people will forget about this matter in less than 2 days. Huh. That's great. The news of the cracked woman being killed by the police on the spot quickly spread under the strong promotion of the police station. The dark clouds that had been hovering over the entire town of Mihua for most of the month suddenly dissipated. People squatted straight home after work and wanted to make plans to take to the streets. Those who drink alcohol, those who eat late-night snacks. Midnight. Somewhere in Tokyo. In a secluded alley. A drunken man was lying on the ground, and in a daze, he suddenly heard the sound of footsteps coming from behind. Next up. A woman in red appeared in front of him. "Am I pretty?" The woman's voice was incredibly pleasant, and upon hearing the drunkard, she immediately reacted. The drunken man said in a daze, "Beautiful, so beautiful. Miss, you are really too beautiful, but the mask you are wearing is blocking your beauty. Let me help you remove it." Speaking. The drunken man stood up unsteadily and reached out to take off the woman's mask. Then. A bloody torn mouth appeared before his eyes. Monster, go away." The drunken man was startled and sat down on the ground again with his whole butt down. "You actually called me ugly. Damn it, go die for me." The cracked woman was immediately angered. He stepped directly on the drunk man's body and then rudely stuffed the big scissors into his mouth. Click. A scream echoed through the sky. One knife after another. The cracked woman didn't stop until she cut the drunk's head almost completely along her mouth, satisfied. Slowly standing up, putting on the mask again, and leaving the scene step by step. In the dark night. A social animal who had just finished working overtime dragged his tired body into a small alley in order to go home and rest early. Walking. Suddenly, a sound of footsteps came from behind him. He didn't turn back, but continued to walk forward. Step by step. Step by step. The footsteps were getting closer and closer, and soon caught up with him. Immediately after, the woman's pleasant voice suddenly remembered, this little brother. Subconsciously, she turned around and saw a woman wearing a red dress and a mask staring at her with bright eyes. He was first startled. But then, thinking of the news that the police station had already killed the cracked woman during the day, it quickly calmed down. "What's wrong?" the social animal asked. The cracked woman wearing a mask asked gently, "Do you think I'm pretty?" In the heart of the social animal, there was a sudden move, and then he forced a smile and said, "Hey, hello, I said this beautiful woman. It's boring for you to do this. Didn't you read the news? That cracked female killer has already been killed by the police, and you can't scare anyone now." The cracked woman remained silent, still staring closely at the livestock while slowly raising the large scissors hidden behind her. Under the dim light, the large scissors refracted a palpitating blood-colored light. The social animal felt inexplicably uneasy and said, Hey, you guy, are you serious?" As he spoke, he stepped back step by step. However, the cracked woman did not let him go, pressing him step by step, and directly pushed him to the corner of the wall. Not long. Woo 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 ah. A scream echoed through the sky. Thank you for reading the 100V reward from the Big Shot without any books. Thank you for the monthly pass from the 981 boss. Thank you very much. Seeking free flowers, seeking free evaluation tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, seeking everything. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.